It has never been Joe Rogan's style to avoid controversy. The co-host of The View, Sunny Hostin, is his most recent victim. On a recent edition of The Joe Rogan Experience, he brutally attacked Hostin, calling her the worst woman on TV and said she wasn't that smart despite having a law degree. As reports of a significant litigation involving Hostin's spouse, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, broke, Rogan made his comments. In the complaint, Dr. Hostin is charged with insurance fraud. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Hostin is accused of insurance fraud, unlawful bribes, and involvement in a massive RICO scheme involving corrupt and racketeer-influenced groups. Among the 180 defendants in the case are allegations that Dr. Hostin committed fraud in the healthcare system. The American Transit Insurance Company, or ATAIC, claims that Dr. Hostin conducted needless procedures for financial benefit, namely on drivers for Lyft, Uber, and taxis. The complaint alleges that he and other individuals routinely overcharged insurance companies and performed unnecessary medical procedures in order to cheat them. With the extent of the alleged deception, Atik says this might be one of the biggest RICO cases in New York history. Atik claims that this plan was created to take advantage of the system, which resulted in the medical experts involved receiving astronomical compensation. If the accusations are proven true in court, Dr. Hostin and the other defendants may face harsh legal repercussions. In addition to the legal repercussions, Sunny Hostin, a well-known television personality and vocal opponent of corruption and misbehavior, has been involved in this issue, which has immediately drawn national attention. Sunny Hostin has spoken out in support of her spouse in the face of these charges. In her view, the lawsuit is only a ploy by Attic to divert attention from its own financial difficulties, and Dr. Hostin is a victim of corporate healthcare avarice. In addition to demanding a retraction of what she describes as untrue accusations, Hostin has accused the insurance firm of using her celebrity profile to ignite a media frenzy. However, those who criticize Hostin have not wasted any time in pointing out what they see as hypocrisy. Throughout the years, Hostin has regularly defended the moral high ground, denouncing corruption and immoral behavior. Now that she is dealing with severe charges against her own family, opponents say she is changing the story rather than confronting the accusations directly. This apparent double standard was criticized by Joe Rogan in particular, who made fun of her for prior remarks on integrity and accountability while supporting her husband against claims of fraud. Rogan did not mince words in his criticism of Hostin, which is characteristic of his direct and frequently contentious views. At one point in his podcast, he made fun of her education, asking how a law degree holder could be so contemptuous of grave legal accusations. Rogan stated, "She presents herself as the most intelligent person in the room, but she isn't that intelligent." Because of her aggressive behavior on The View, he also referred to her as the nastiest lady on television. Some in his audience found resonance in his comments, as many had long chastised Hostin for what they saw as his moral grandstanding and elitism. Others claim that major media sources are hesitant to cover the case as vigorously as they would if the roles were reversed. And Rogan's remarks fueled the current discussion about media bias and selective indignation. As the litigation progresses, Sunny Hostin's heritage disclosure has become a new source of controversy. It was found in earlier studies that Hostin's ancestry extends back to Spanish slave owners. Her integrity as a social justice champion has been called into question by opponents despite her efforts to explain this part of her family background. People think she applies her moral judgments selectively, so this heightened examination has just made the reaction against her stronger. Online criticism has been harsh, with critics pointing out the irony of someone who has often discussed historical tyranny and racial injustice being associated with a slaveholding lineage. The lawsuit and this disclosure have placed Hostin in a vulnerable position as she continues to deal with criticism from the public and the media. The case is still pending and the consequences are enormous, even though Hostin has consistently defended her husband. The court may impose harsh sanctions such as fines, restitution, and possibly jail time on Dr. Hostin if it finds him guilty of fraud and unlawful kickbacks. The case raises questions about possible weaknesses that let fraudulent activities to continue, which may have wider ramifications for the medical sector. Insisting that Dr. Hostin has always conducted his medical profession in an ethical manner, Hostin and her husband's legal team have called the case a baseless attack. They contend that ATIC is blaming medical practitioners in an effort to prevent financial damages. A public apology, monetary compensation for damages, and the retraction of what they say are defamatory accusations are among the demands they have made as part of their defense. Discussions about legal responsibility, media prejudice, and personal hypocrisy have all been sparked by the scandal involving Sunny Hostin and her husband. Joe Rogan's scathing critique has intensified the conversation by highlighting Hostin's alleged inconsistencies in her public image. It is obvious that this subject will continue to make news for the foreseeable future, especially with prominent legal analysts and media personalities like Joe Rogan escalating the dispute.